is up, everyone? And Jedi here from Eternal Journey, the podcast, and your host for the first ever Content Creator Showdown. On this show, I've gathered various influencers and content creators of Eternal to battle it out in specifically designed formats I've created every season. Will you root for your favorite, or will you discover someone new? Regardless, we're all here to celebrate and support this great game of Eternal. So without further delay, let's find out who our creators are for this evening.
Hey guys, Sendrith here. I feel like I'm probably fairly known to the Eternal community by this point, but I do tons and tons of drafting, so doing constructed is a little odd. I may have had some draft experience or maybe some preferences carry over into my constructed deck for Jedi's Pauper Challenge. So let's go ahead and dive into this. So as I was looking through things, I realized that cross-format All-Star Blood Nurse is a common, and we also knew that Horn of Plenty is also a common. So we're going to go ahead and try and take advantage of the Blood Nurse Arcanum Elite combo that already exists in the current draft format. See if it can kind of carry us to victory in this tournament. So clearly we have our early game with Blood Nurse and Arcanum Elite. It's going to kind of help us get a little bit of flying advantage right away. Devotee and Trailmaker are both going to help us ramp a little bit. I wanted cards that generated additional cards, kind of like pseudo card advantage. Amber Acolyte does a great job of that. Not only is it going to be a 2-1 for 3, but it's also going to draw a card in the sense of drawing power, ensuring that we make it to our turn 5 and beyond. Turn 5 we have our Haymakers, Infused Guardian, which is a phenomenal card in set 5 draft. Set 5 and 5.5. This card is just a phenomenal unit. It's really difficult to kill. It has endurance, so you can be both offensive and defensive, which is just a fantastic unit overall. Horn of Plenty is going to kind of lead us into the mid to late game, kind of buffing all of these ramp units and fixing units, allowing us to continue to apply pressure. Eventually, we'll just kind of chip them away with things like Archive Curators if we really need to, if the Blood Nurses don't get their job done. And then while we're going wide with Blood Nurses and Little Dorks, we have Mob Rule, which is just another, probably the best removal spell in the format, I'll say. And if you're only counting commons, I think Mob Rule is going to do a really good job kind of cleaning up problematic units. We also have Extract. It can take out kind of like the early game, kind of scout and ensure our draws are good. And then a card that I think might be good in this format, Cut Ties. While it is expensive, it is a unconditional removal spell that is fast. Why did I pick this over something like Eviscerate? I'm willing to pay 1 more power to have a fast spell that kills a unit. So that kind of gives you an idea. We rounded out at 27 power. Amber Coins kind of help us a little bit. They're not super necessary, but I think they're going to be beneficial to us to kind of go a little wider, give us a little extra use out of these mob rules. So deck's pretty straightforward, tons and tons of 4-ofs, and hopefully it works for me. And hopefully you get to say fly my pets 100,000 times during this event.
Cassandrith is one of my favorite drafters to watch. He's been known to snatch victory out of the jaws of defeat time and time again, with very technical play and always keeping his cool. I'm super excited to see if he's able to flood the board with a bunch of 1/1 flying lifelink bats, but we'll have to wait and see. But for now, let's find out who his opponent is.
Hello, my name is Mark, or Gato Sujo in-game, and together with my co-host Jason, we are the Misplay Podcast. We are a bi-weekly podcast that comes out on Tuesdays, and we cover a variety of topics from happenings in the community, news about the game, things we like in the game, and ways that we can improve in the learning process and decision-making process while we play, mostly by telling you how bad we are at this game. We are on Twitter and social medias. You can find us at The Misplay on Twitter. We are info@themisplay.com for email and business inquiries. And for the Content Creator Showdown, I drew Cassandrith for round 1, and I'm a little bit scared because he's a really talented streamer and a talented player. So I'm just going to walk through my deck, a little bit of the logic, and then call it good. Or, not logic, as we are the Misplay. I thought a monocolored deck would be a stable thing to play. I didn't like the look of the fixing for the format, and so I looked at Warcry, and I thought a cool way to get an advantage would be to have an oversized unit. And so I decided I wanted to try to see how often I can make Coastal Blade Barrier be a 3-power 5/5. So I'm playing some armor enablers and some Warcry units. My other aim was to be able to go over mono red in case that was prevalent. So you'll note I have a pretty simple power base, just the 17 sigils and then a coin and Waystone. Coin enables my flyers, it enables more twists for Torrid Test Pilot to keep blade barriers up as 5/5s, and Waystone of course for the same purpose. I had a small weapon suite, and I thought the removal was pretty soft in this format, so I thought maybe playing a couple of weapons wouldn't be so dangerous. They suit up a flyer well, they have a little bit of extra utility, allowing my smaller units to attack more often, or in Peacekeeper's Helm, Rebuke in the later game. For my removal, I chose Retribution since I'm attacking with flyers, and Mithril Mace since I was playing on the armor theme. And then I just wanted to smooth everything out, so I played a playset of Inspire, I played a playset of Lingering Influence, and I used Finest Hour as a pseudo removal spell.
I think Mark is being a little too modest. I have seen him play. He has quite a bit of play skill himself. I believe I've lost to him quite a few times. But that being said, I do like his take on the format. The fact that he's looking at the format as a whole when building his deck instead of just his deck list, particularly what he wants to play, and the efficiency and smoothness of it. I do look forward to seeing just how far he can push Kasual Blade Bearer in this format. But without further ado, guys, let's go ahead and head down to the match and see how our guys do. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, for game 1, Gatsusuju decides to keep a double Justice Sigil, Stalwart Shield, Lingering Influence, Torrid Test Pilot, Oni Samurai, and a Mithril Mace. Cassandra, on the other hand, keeps a Time Sigil, Xenon Banner, Cut Ties, Extract, Amethyst Acolyte, Amber Acolyte, and an Infused Guardian. Cassandra won the die roll, and he starts us off for game 1. Cassandra starts us off by playing his Xenon Banner, and Gatsusuju follows it up with a Justice Sigil and an Oni Samurai. Cassandra draws an Amber Acolyte, playing a Time Sigil and passing the turn. Gatsusuju proceeds to play another Justice Sigil, attack with the Samurai, triggering Warcry, and then playing Lingering Influence, drawing a Justice Sigil and scouting, placing the card back on top. Cassandra misses his second power, so he passes the turn. Gatsusuju plays his Justice Sigil, attacks again with the Samurai, and follows it up with a Bright Mace Paladin. Cassandra finally draws his Shadow Sigil and proceeds to think about it, and he casts Amethyst Acolyte, putting a -1/-1 on the Oni Samurai, preventing it from attacking. Gatsusuju draws, plays the Justice Sigil, attacks with the Bright Mace Paladin, getting in for 3, and then follows it up with a Torrid Test Pilot. Cassandra misses another power, but luckily they have Amber Acolyte to go ahead and draw a Time Sigil, so they play that, playing their 4th power, and pass. Gatsusuju plays their 5th Justice Sigil, and then decides to play the Stalwart Shield on the Bright Mace Paladin, make it a 4/6 lifesteal, and swinging with both the Torrid Test Pilot and the Bright Mace. Cassandra does not block, taking 5 damage, while Gatsusuju gains 4. They go ahead and play another Acolyte, going and get a Shadow Sigil, putting him up to 5, playing a Devotee of the Sands, not shifted, and passing the turn. Gatsusuju draws, plays a Justice Sigil, and then decides to play a Mithril Mace and uses it to take out one of the Acolytes, getting in once again with the Test Pilot and the Bright Mace. Cassandra decides not to block again, taking 5 as Gatsusuju gains 5, and then follows up by playing their 3/3 Valkyrie. Cassandra naturally draws power finally. They're up to 7 power now. Cut Ties the Bright Mace Paladin, getting it off the board. Decide on no attacks and pass the turn. Gatsusuju draws another Stalwart Shield, then proceeds to twist the Torrid Test Pilot one time, making it a 2/3, getting in with the Mace, killing the Devotee, playing the Stalwart Shield on the Oni Samurai, making it a 1/4 and able to attack again, and then swings only with the Flyers, dealing 5 to Cassandra, taking him down to 5. Cassandra draws a Time Sigil and immediately plays it, putting them at 7 power. They proceed to extract the Valkyrie, killing it and gaining 3, and then go ahead and attack with both acolytes. And Gatsusujo decides to block the Amethyst Acolyte with the Samurai, killing it, and Cassandra gets in for 2. Gatsusujo attacks immediately, getting in for 3, taking cast back to 5, and then plays a Kasuo Blade Bearer, activating the twist on the Toward Test Pilot, making it a 3-2 and making the Blade Bearer 5-5. Cassandra draws a Time Sigil, plays the Infused Guardian, playing the Time Sigil, bumping it up to a 5-5 Endurance, and decides to pass the turn, still on defense. Gatsusujo attacks in the air for 3, taking cast down to 2, and then activating the Onslaught on Retribution, killing off the Infused Guardian, but silencing it before it does it. Passing the turn, Cast draws a Blood Nurse, but decides he'd rather play the Horn of Plenty first, and then plays the Blood Nurse, twisting it once, making a 2-2 flying Bat Lifesteal. Now he has a Defender. Gatsusujo draws for turn, is contemplating what his next play is, and finally decides on attacking with all 3, swinging with the team. Cassandra decides to double block the Blade Bearer, go ahead effectively getting all his units off the board and taking out the Test Pilot with the 2-2. Gatsusujo follows up with another Test Pilot, and Cassandra goes ahead and concedes. For game 2, Gatsusujo keeps a hand of double Justice Sigil, Emerald Waystone, Peacekeeper's Helm, double Valkyrie Aspirant, and an Oni Samurai. Cassandra, being on the play yet again, keeps Time Sigil, Amber Coin, Double Cut Ties, Archive Curator, Amber Acolyte, and Devotee of the Sands. Let's see if he can turn it around this game. Alright, for game 2, Cassandra starts us off by playing Amber Coin, depleted. Gatsusujo go ahead and plays his Justice Sigil, followed up with the Oni Samurai, getting a little bit of deja vu going on. But then we have a second Time Sigil and a turn 2 Devotee of Sands for Cassandra and passes. Oni Samurai attacks for Gatsusujo, triggering Warcry, and obviously is blocked by the Devotee. His follow-up play is a Valkyrie Aspirant, followed up by a second Valkyrie Aspirant, so the Air Force is in full effect. Cassandra draws, plays Amber Acolyte, drawing a Shadow Sigil, plays it, and passes the turn. Gatsusujo draws, attacks with the team, sending in the Oni Samurai. Cassandra decides to trade with the Amber Acolyte, and Gatsusujo follows it up by playing a Kasuo Blade Bearer. Cassandra draws an Amethyst Acolyte, sitting at 4 power, and decides to play Curator, silencing the Kasuo Blade Bearer. Gatsusujo attacks with the team yet again. Cassandra blocks the Curator on a Aspirant and the Devotee on the Blade Bearer. Gatsusujo Finest Hours the Aspirant, killing the Curator and dealing 1 to Cassandra before passing the turn. Cassandra plays an Amethyst Acolyte, destroying one of the Aspirants. Gatsusujo plays a Justice Sigil, attacks with his only flyer, follows it up by playing a Torrid Test Pilot, and tries to pass the turn, but before that's done, Cassandra mob rules the Test Pilot, killing it. Cassandra plays a Shadow Sigil, and then follows it up by casting Extract on the Blade Bearer and attacking with the team for 3 before passing the turn. Gatsusujo attacks with the Experience in the air, dealing 1 to Cassandra, and then follows it up with a 2-3 Oni Samurai. Cassandra goes ahead on aggressive play, cut ties the Samurai, gets in for another 3, and then plays a Power Sigil, bumping him up to 7. Gatsusujo casts a Peacekeeper Helm on the Aspirant and simply attacks. Cassandra, with all the removal, casts another Cut Ties on the pumped up or equipped Aspirant with a smirk on Gatsusujo's face. He takes the 3 and draws a Soaring Guard, playing it immediately and passing the turn. Cassandra attacks with the team yet again, leaving back Blood Nurse, not wanting to lose it, and passes the turn. Gatsusujo draws a Mithril Mace and passes the turn. Cassandra attacks again for 3, finally hitting that 5th power. Gatsusujo does the old Peacekeeper Helm again, this time casting Spellcraft on the Blood Nurse, effectively silencing it, but Cassandra has a silence effect of his own, drawing the Curator. He decides to hold back on it and passes the turn. Gatsusujo plays the mace, killing the devotee, and decides to hold back a blocker. Cassandra draws a time sigil, playing a curator, silencing the soaring guard, and simply passes the turn. Gatsusujo follows it up by playing a lingering influence, drawing a justice sigil, and scouting to the bottom. In an aggressive move, they attack with the 2-4, and Cassandra decides not to block. So the follow-up play by Gatsusujo is killing the acolyte with the mace and simply playing power and passing the turn. Cassandra draws even more power, having a full grip of power, so they attack with no defenders to take out the mace. Gatsusujo's follow-up play is a Bright Mace Paladin and passes the turn. Cassandra attacks in the air for 1 and then follows up with a Infused Guardian, playing a power immediately, making it a 5-5 endurance, and passes back to Gatsusujo. Gatsusujo attacks with a 2-4 yet again, and Cassandra calls his bluff, this time blocking with both the Blood Nurse and the Infused Guardian, killing the 2-4 Soaring Guard, but following it up with a Retribution with Onslaught activated, yet again killing the Infused Guardian. Feels like serious deja vu from game 1 here. Gatsusujo finally pulls the trigger, playing the Stalwart Shield on the Bright Mace Paladin, making it a 4-6 lifesteal, and attacks. But Cassandra's with the top deck Acolyte, giving a -1/-1 to the Bright Mace, making it a 3-5 endurance with no lifesteal, but still Gatsusujo keeps the pressure on and attacks yet again. They play a Waystone, gaining an armor, and pass the turn. Gatsusujo plays a Samurai and attacks yet again, both players just drawing massive amounts of power. Ugh. Cassandra draws the Curator, plays the Curator, silencing the Bright Mace, making it just a plain old 3-5 now, and gets in with the other Curator in the air, putting our Gatsusujo at 15 and Cassandra at 13. Gatsusujo, being extremely aggressive, attacks with both units again, trading off the Amethyst Acolyte with the Oni Samurai, and then simply just bouncing off each other with the Bright Mace and the Curator, following it up with a Blade Bearer. Cassandra's drawing still more power, has to do nothing but pass the turn. Gatsusujo attacks with the Bright Mace Paladin, simply trying to trigger Onslaught for the Emerald Coin, playing the +1/+1 on the Blade Bearer, which is convenient because Cassandra then draws a Mob Rule, not being able to kill either unit, passes the turn after playing a power. Gatsusujo draws a Grunt and with a Warcry trigger on it, so it is 2-4, and plays it and passing the turn. Finally, Cassandra sees some gas, drawing another Infused Guardian, so he plays it immediately, followed by a Sigil, making it a 5-5, and activating Mob Rule, taking advantage of it and killing the Kasul Blade Bearer while they have the opening. They now attack in the air for 2, taking Gatsusujo down to 13, and it's 13 all. Gatsusujo, being yet extremely aggressive, drawing a Mithril Mace, attacks with the 2-4 and the 3-5. It is killed by the Infused Guardian, but he plays the Mithril Mace, 2-for-1ing himself on the Guardian, getting it off the board. Cassandra attacks in the air again for 2, passing the turn with Extract in hand. Ooh, and going face with the Extract, taking Gatsusujo to 3 and getting the Scout going. Gatsusujo unfortunately draws another Justice Sigil and plays it, going up to 10 power. Meanwhile, Cassandra knows he's drawing another Infused Guardian. He gets in for 2 in the air, plays the Guardian, plays the power, making it a 5-5, and passes the turn. Gatsusujo sadly draws more power and concedes the game. 1-1 all. For game 3, Cassandra keeps Time Sigil, Amber Coin, Horn of Plenty, Amethyst Acolyte, Trailmaker, Amber Acolyte, and a Devotee of the Sands. Gatsusujo is on the play this time and takes double Justice Sigil, Retribution, Stalwart Shield, Minotaur Grunt, Bright Mace Paladin, and Spire. It's tied 1-1. Let's see which content creator is going to come out victorious at the end of this round. Alright everyone, welcome back for game 3. Gatsusujo starts us off by playing a Justice Sigil and passes. Cassandra plays an Amber Coin, passing it back. Gatsusujo plays a power and then plays a Minotaur Grunt, giving it back to Cassandra. Cassandra drops his second time source and decides to play a Trailmaker, getting himself his Shadow Influence. Passing back, Gatsusujo attacks, triggering the Warcry, no blocks from Cassandra, and decides to follow it up with a Soaring Guard with no third power. Passing it back to Cassandrith. Cassandrith draws, also missing his power. So both, one stuck at 3, one stuck at 2, but luckily Cassandrith has an Acolyte, Amber Acolyte, going to fetch a Shadow Sigil and making their 4th power play. They decide not to attack and instead just play a Blood Nurse and pass the turn. Gato Sujo draws his Justice Sigil, playing it going up to 3. Attacks with both the Grunt and the Soaring Guard. Cassandra decides not to block. And Gato Sujo follows it up with a Bright Mace Paladin passing back. Cassandra draws an Extract. He decides to play both a Trailmaker and a Devotee, ramping up to 6 power and passing it back to Gato Sujo with no attacks. Gato Sujo attacks with the team, and Cassandra decides to double block the Bright Mace with the Devotee and the Acolyte. Gato Sujo kills the Devotee, and then follows up with Inspired, drawing a coin and playing a 3/4 Samurai, Oni Samurai, giving the +1/+1 onto the Soaring Guard, making it a 2/3. Cassandra plays their 6th power, following it up with a Horn of Plenty, pumping the entire team and passing it back. Gato Sujo attacks with the 2/3 in the air, activating Retribution, taking out the Blood Nurse and passing it back, still missing power. Cassandra extracts the 2/3 Soaring Guard and bottoming another coin, playing an Amethyst Acolyte, putting the -1/-1 on the Oni Samurai, making it a 2/3, and then attacking with the rest of the team. Gato Sujo has no blocks and takes 9, going down to 18, and Cassandra passes it back after playing his power. Gato Sujo plays a Stalwart Shield on the Grunt and attacks with both the 2/6 and the 2/3, triggering Warcry. Cassandra trades with the Amethyst Acolyte and takes 2. A cut ties off the top, quickly takes out the Grunt, clearing out Gato Sujo's board, and Cassandra yet again attacks for 9, taking Gato Sujo down to 9. Gato Sujo plays a Kasul Blade Bearer, following it up with a Lingering Influence, drawing a Justice Sigil and scouting to the bottom and passing it back to Cassandra. Cassandra plays an Amethyst Acolyte on the Blade Bearer and attacks with the team. Gato Sujo calls it a day, takes the 9 damage, killing him and giving the match to Cassandra. Cassandra is our first winner for the tournament, keeping him in the winner's bracket for round 2. Gato Sujo, racking up a loss, will move over to the not so winning bracket, but that's not the last we've seen of him because this is a double elimination tournament. So Gato Sujo will have a chance next round to stay alive in the tournament. Who will these opponents battle next time? Stay tuned and find out. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for the first episode of the Content Creator Showdown. I hope you appreciated and enjoyed the battle between Gato Sujo, bringing a Mono Justice early aggressive deck using small units, Warcry triggers, and pump spells to get underneath any strategy his opponent brings, versus Cassandra, bringing a Xenon ramp and removal package using a bunch of accelerators to ramp into big units as well as solid removal to clear the way for the big units to get in there and take over their late game. You can catch Gato Sujo up on Twitter at The Misplay, as well as streaming live on Twitch. They talk about all great things Eternal on their podcast. I enjoy it quite a bit, so make sure you're giving them a follow. And you can follow Cassandra at twitch.tv/Cassandra. I believe he's streaming 4 days a week now, primarily limited play. Is absolutely phenomenal streamer, going through his strategies and reasons for plays as well as pick orders. Alright guys, and of course you can catch me, Jedi, aka Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, here at this channel, as well as all the great social media places in the links down below, so I won't waste any more of your time. Thank you so much for tuning in, and once again, stay tuned for the next battle to find out who else is going to be battling it out to be reigned champion of Season 1 of the Content Creator Showdown. Until next time, happy gaming.